My name is Ward Long, and I'm a photographer living in Oakland, California. I spend my time making books, making fine prints, and I'm also a photography teacher. To explain the title and introduce the project, there's a little bit of a backstory in that I moved out to California and I found this beautiful rundown house. It was by the train tracks and the water. There were trucks in the yard. I felt very masculine, very stoic and very cool. And then the energy healer carpenter who owned the place kicked me out and turned it into an Airbnb. So then I had no place to live. So I called my friend Ara and she says, "Oh, there might be this open room on the house on Montgomery Street." Looking back, I have no idea why they chose me, but suddenly I moved in with Alice, Bianca, Kate, Hannah, and Sarah. And I'm living there because Kate's on tour, so I'm only supposed to be there for the summer. So the title is very literal. And when I first moved in, I felt very uncomfortable, just so conspicuously male, and I felt really a stranger in this world. But the people who lived there welcomed me with incredible open hearts and really just changed my life.
Can you see green now if I'm talking?
As somebody who's reading about the arts, I'm just so painfully aware of the incredibly terrible track record of men photographing female bodies and men asking women to hold still and represent something for them. So the first pictures that I took in the house were a little timid, but as I got to know the people who lived there and we became friends and our relationships deepened, the pictures kind of grew in that intimacy as well. I went from taking pictures, observing things that were happening in the house, to making portraits, to building portraits and pictures together. This picture talks about my relationship to the place. It's honest about the limits of my understanding, there's this window into the world and it's kind of a small window. The house is much bigger and you can see me, but you can't see me all that clearly. And my shadow and my silhouette is superimposed on this painting. It was painted by somebody's aunt in the 70s that somehow seemed like they're from any era. It's kind of like a magic mirror. No one can quite agree who the person wearing these jeans are. I think it has to do with who you expect to turn around and see you. Is it going to be a beautiful man or a beautiful woman? And being able to gaze upon it but never quite know what it is that you're seeing. And my shadow silhouette, both of these things are related ideas. It shows my relationship to the place, the mystery of the place, but my kind of limited window into it. And when I made the book, this image comes right next to the picture of Hannah's back. And it was in the project for a while, and only later did I realize, oh, it's the mirror image of the painting. It's the same back, To me, that relationship captures how much of an impact the house had on us. All of the paintings and drawings on the wall sort of slowly seeped in, and they became our poses, they became our tattoos. There was this real energetic interchange between the two. There's a lot of talk in criticism about gazing. The gaze holds so much power. And I always felt when I was photographing the people that I was living with, there was a staring contest between the camera and the person. And the camera blinked first, the shutter clicked before Hannah blinked. And that there's something about this direct gaze that holds so much more power and shows that, it's not that my gaze is controlling the person in front of it, but that the woman in the frame controls herself. It feels like she's not only looking at me through the lens, but straight out towards you, straight into the future, wherever this print hangs or wherever you see the JPEG on the internet. That there's so much self-possession that usual power relationship between camera and person is just totally flipped. One of the entrances to the house is this little porch. It leads straight into a bedroom. And you can see just outside of the door all of these things that kind of belong inside. There's a keyboard, there's spray paint leftover from a different creative project. There's these house plants, and there's this little writing desk, with these kind of improvised cushions. And at the door, there's this hand-painted sign, and I think it was from, there were very many protests against like the Trump administration. Sometimes people put lawn signs up saying like, this is what we believe in this house. But this almost looks like a list of demands. It's not only these are the things that happen inside the house, but this is what we want from the outside world. I think our response to this, very troubled time was to look inward and try to build the world that we wanted to be a part of, and then share that, welcome other people into it.